Chargers Browns next.
Oh, I love that game.
My goodness.
That game was drunk as hell. I think Kevin Harlan might have said, this game is drunk.
You know what that game is for me? And you can get the score in a second, but just quickly, I was watching this thing. This
Chargers,
is what
47, Browns 42.
This is what the NFL is supposed to look like when you have two brainiacs going against each other. And you mentioned haymakers to start the game, to start the podcast, just punching each other in the face. No one's going down. It was awesome to watch.
Okay, so Wilson, I have a question for you. When does the backlash against Brandon Staley being like a Twitter favorite start? Because it's going to have, like, people are going to be like, I mean, everyone knows these things. Everyone knows that, like, disruption is production.
Well, no one said it before. How come no one said it before if it's so obvious?
That's my thing. People were, so I tweeted out a video of him saying, look, we don't really worry about sacks. We worry about pressures and quarterback hits. And we want to worry about things that are consistent, because over the long, he's not expressing some crazy wild view. What he's doing is articulating in a reasonable fashion what everyone who watches football thinks and wants coaches to think. Here's
the difference. Like, everyone, this is common knowledge, just like when to go for it on fourth down, according to the
Galaxy brain Sean McVay. It's amazing.
Well, like when to go for it on the chart is common knowledge. The difference is these guys who aren't Brandon Staley and Kevin Stefanski sort of wimp out when the rubber meets the road. Like when you know, they're
Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury are not analytically inclined.
Well, and the other part of that is, though, sometimes these coaches wimp out because it bit them in the butt before. Well, guess what? Brandon Staley doesn't get bitten in the butt because they come through on all these fourth downs. Against the Browns, they went 3 for 3 on fourth down. So if it works for you every time, you're never going to second. You're just going to do it. I don't care if I'm on my own 40 or my own 30. If it's fourth and anything under 5 or 8, whatever, I'm going for it.
No matter where they're on the field, it doesn't matter. One thing I will say in defense of the conservative,
if he fails like 4 times in a row at some point, maybe he'll start to soften his stance.
Yeah,
I don't think he will. I think he is so supremely motivated and prepared that sorry, Debo put up a funny question in youtube.com/pick6. Staley is defensive Sean McVay with an actual understanding of the analytical approach to how to improve your in-game management and play calling, and to improve your win percentage when you are a professional football coach. It's crazy to watch. I mean, it's
awesome to watch.
It's awesome to watch.
You're not yelling at the television.
Yeah. He's like, there's no like debate, like, oh, maybe we should go, and like huddling up. It's like, no, this is a very clear-cut go situation. Let's go.
Here's the only time I yelled at the television was when Austin Eckler was sort of dancing around the 1-yard line. He wanted to go down, and the Browns were so smart that they dragged him into the end zone at the end of the game to sort of set up an opportunity for the Browns to come back. But I will say one thing quickly.
It was like 2 nerds dancing off or something.
Yeah, it was 2 nerds with all the girls at the 8th grade dance standing on the sidelines, and they're having a nerd off dance.
We're like, what's the Carlton? Dude.
Yeah, the Carlton dance.
You probably know the Carlton, right? I can't ask Wilson. Hey, Wilson, you know the Carlton?
I do know the Carlton dance. There it is, Breech. Breech got the head shake.
Hey, if this is the Browns from Hugh Jackson, they're down 41-7, and they're pushing the other guy in because they don't know what they're doing. But no, this was such a smart defensive play on their part there.
Tara Darrell in the comments. YouTube makes a great point. Chargers GM should be getting some love too. So as should Andrew Berry, the Browns GM. Because here's the thing: if you
Tom
don't have
Telesco, by the way,
Tom Telesco for Los Angeles, if you don't have
ironically, by the way, Tom Telesco, you know his mentor is, right?
If you don't have Justin Herbert on your team, and if you don't have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt as the running backs of your team, as Breech noted earlier, you're going to be a little more apprehensive about going forward on fourth down. So I think that helps inform their decisions. If you got Ben Roethlisberger back there, you might be less inclined to do so. Who is Tom Telesco's mentor, Brinson?
Well, I was asking y'all. I know who it is.
Phillip Rivers would be my guess.
No, that's Phillip Rivers is a quarterback, not a former GM. Yeah, you guys know? Do you guys know? I find it kind of humorous. It's Bill Polian, who's not analytically inclined at all. But Telesco doesn't like swapping around on the draft board. He likes sitting where he is, and he doesn't really talk about who he wants to take. He didn't make any noise about Bosa being their guy when they took him. I believe it was 3rd. Because they were worried that somebody was going to jump them and take Bosa. The next year, Mike Williams, 1st-round pick. Derwin James the year after that. Jerry Tillery, who's playing pretty good football this year. Justin Herbert, and then Rashawn Slater. Holy crap. What a run of first-round picks.
By the way, Rashawn Slater told the running backs during Sunday's game to quit helping with chip blocks on Myles Garrett because he would rather manhandle him one-on-one. And Mitchell Schwartz, who used to play for the Chiefs, actually tweeted that sometimes that doesn't help you as a tackle when that happens. But just to hear Rashawn Slater as a rookie say that is pretty impressive.
Slater's a man-child. He stoned Chase Young at when Northwestern versus Ohio State, and then again Chargers versus Washington. He's a beast. And then you look at the second-round picks too for him. Kenneth Murray was a first-round pick.
Yeah, they traded for him.
Jr. Josh Palmer looks good. Sorry, I got distracted.
Josh Palmer was a third-rounder.
No, I'm just listing later round picks.
Oh, okay.
Well, Farsland, fine. Dan Feeney, friend of the podcast. Hunter Henry, now in New England, but second-round pick. Anyway, yes, Tom Telesco has done a good job building this roster, and so has Andrew Berry, to Wilson's point. These are, I think, the Chargers and the Browns, two of the more bad luck franchises over the last 20 years, have stable organizational functions and are starting to build towards success.
And
that game was drunk and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, there was not a lot of defense, obviously, by the score, but you look at the stat sheet, and Njoku had his longest catch was 71 yards, that went for a touchdown. Donovan Peoples-Jones had a 42-yarder. Then you look on the Charger side, Mike Williams, a 72-yarder, Keenan Allen, 37, Guyton, 21, Parham, 22. He scored a touchdown. Jared Cook, 29. So defense wasn't there, but the offense, there were no turnovers in this game either, Breech.
Yes, it's funny you mentioned that because the Browns are the first team in NFL history to score 40 or more points and not turn the ball over a single time and lose the game. In Super Bowl era, teams had been 401 and 0.
401 and 0?
401 and 0.
Yeah, I'm saying 401 and 0.
And 0, yes.
That's insane.
Until now.
There's also like a variation of that stat where they're the only team ever to have a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, score 40 points and lose the game, which, look, the Browns' 2 losses this year, tough luck. Pistons, Jordan lost to the Chiefs early. And this crazy shootout against the Chargers. Browns are legit. Chargers are legit.
What are you making a face for, Breech?
Because I just want to say one thing about how the end of the game.
With 2 games, go ahead.
The end of the game went down for the Browns. It was just like a disastrous fight. They had 90 seconds and they were like dinking and dunking. They didn't have any timeouts. And, Baker's out there throwing 5. He threw a 6-yard pass, a 3-yard pass, a 2-yard pass, all while the clock was still running. And then they get down to their 46-yard line and they run 4 straight plays from the 46-yard line and go deep on every single one. What are you doing? Get closer. If you throw a 10-yard pass, you don't have to throw a 54-yard Hail Mary. Now you'll need a 44-yard Hail Mary.
By the way, the get closer, that's at the very top of Freddie Kitch's play sheet. Number 1, get closer.
Well, you know what? Maybe for the final minute of games, Kevin Stefanski needs to borrow that play sheet because it was just the Browns were so smart in offense this whole game that this was just shocking to see such a mismanaged final. It was 90 seconds. Not like they had 30 seconds and no timeouts. They had 90 seconds to go get down and score a touchdown.
Yeah, and Browns fans that's the 90 seconds they were least happy about because everything prior to that was pretty much boilerplate analytics.
Well, they were also upset about a pass interference call.
Right. I mean, in terms of what the way Stefanski called the game.
It was just a crazy game. It was a crazy game between 2 up-and-coming AFC teams. It was fun as hell to watch. 80-plus points. Kevin Harlan's calling it. Everyone's losing their mind.
Fun fact. The final score is 47-42. Only the second time that's ever happened in NFL history.
I thought you were going to be Scorgani.
The only other time was last year between the Browns and Ravens.
Another fun fact.
Oh, Monday night with Lamar Jackson pooping?
Yep. The Browns have been involved in the only 2 47-42 games in NFL history.